if I work backwards from your question from your last point, I think an essential part of due diligence today when you're recruiting a director is to actually look at exactly that involvement in social causes or whatever, whether in the guise of another company or as a private individual, and just make sure you understand where that person sits and assess whether their views in a particular area may or may not ultimately be a problem or a contradiction for your company. So I always really, I'm careful with that. Every director we appoint, just look back and see if they've chained themselves to the railings and on some protest. We need to know. Look, I think as always, social expectations in society change. You know, I grew up in an era where it was shareholder primacy. That was it. You didn't really worry about other stakeholders, and you had a government of the day to make decisions on things that affected us all as citizens, and it was nothing to do with corporations. You just deliver financial sort of value. That has changed a bit. That in the bit that we all have now a very big social license to fulfill, and that spills over in the days of social media and things. It's hard to avoid all political causes and just say, oh, it's nothing to do with us. And you don't want to be on the wrong side of history. And if you've sort of been asked whether you supported the suffragettes 100 years ago, you wouldn't want to be on record as saying no. So there's all that to balance. But I still think ultimately the acid test should be, is this social cause of particular significance to our company, our customers, the way we do it? Is there some reason why it's not just a general community issue, but it has relevance to our society, to our company? And if it does, then I think there's a very different decision-making path as to the position you take. But if it doesn't, then you should try and just stay out of it. Make sure your employees are well informed, but say this is, the voice and skirt around it. Whether you were for or against the voice, I think people objected to being told what to do by sanctimonious corporations, particularly in sort of cafe latte echelons of Sydney and Melbourne.
Yeah, the so-called elite, right?
Yeah, and who am I to tell someone whether they should feel that they support or don't support? I think that's where corporate Australia got it wrong. It was relentless preaching to others as to what they think should be done. Whether you were a supporter or you weren't a supporter, I don't think that's the right thing to do. Certainly in the boardrooms that I was at the time, there were differing personal views. And I said, well, you need to put those to one side, irrespective of what you may or may not believe in yourself.
Yep.
You need to say what is actually good for our company. If we support this publicly, why would we do that? What would be the value that we can actually say we have now delivered to our company and its shareholders and its employees? And if it's purely your own ideological perspective, well, then that's not adding value to the company. So stay out of it.